No, actually, you did need to do that.
Uh, video's already up.
People are gonna watch me, eat on camera.
Well,
Sorry.
well, that's all right. You're human. You get to eat every now and then.
Really?
What I can't stand is the humans that are addicted to doing it every day. Gosh, you're expensive. What was I gonna say now? I was gonna say something. I don't remember what I was gonna tell you.
Usually, I just sit in a, like a regeneration chamber.
Right. What regeneration are you on now?
On the Borg ship. Yeah.
Oh no, I was thinking of your Time Lord regeneration.
Oh no. Oh.
But if you want to go Borg, we could do that too. You think that I would have memorized the schedule by now, but I have not. Okay, so there's nobody on right now, and Superplex is on right after us.
Actually, I don't think Superplex is on. They do it. I mean, I don't know when they do it. They don't usually do it. Well, I mean, it's scheduled for Thursday, but sometimes they do it Friday. Sometimes they do it Saturday. I don't know. I can ask. I ask Gilbert.
I was going to put it in the chat. Chuck and Simon, I believe, are going to be here for our meeting on Saturday.
Okay, cool.
Especially if you're going to be here. At least you're familiar with them already a little bit. I told you what the thing was. I think I will be here for it. But just in case I'm not, they will be here. That's the plan. That's what I'm told.
Okay. Oh, I found something new on my microphone. I can actually
turn it sideways.
No, I turn sideways.
You say it looks better that way anyway.
No. I can change. I can change the different colors. I can let it rotate.
Oh well, that.
I can.
Yeah, but
change colors.
Speaking of the Borg, the green.
Yeah.
Very Borg. Oh my god.
They said not tonight, doing it tomorrow.
Really?
For Superplex party. Yep.
How did you get an answer and I didn't?
I texted Gilbert directly.
Okay.
And he's the host of our show, so come on.
Glad we have that chat. Good thing we have that chat going.
Yeah, good thing we got that communication going back.
Fantastic. Blimey. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm going to struggle through this one. I can kind of feel it.
So, I investigated why. I guess why we can't use the auto DJ is because we still need the physical server.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But Mike Jackson gave me a really good idea. I may build this computer with Ubuntu, and then it might actually run on it. So. I will contact Steve Neal this weekend. Do you want Steve on, or do you want Whitley Strieber on?
I'll take them
Steve...
both.
Oh, okay.
I don't care. I'll take them both separately or together. It doesn't matter to me. I don't know about this Sunday yet. I don't think we're going to be here Sunday. Because Chris and I have a family thing.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to, and it doesn't start till 1:30. It's an hour and a half from here, so I don't know that I'm going to be back in time.
All right, no problem.
And I think I might need a break, to be honest. I can't tell you how tired I am. I mean, these are very much first world problems. Make no mistake. Very happy to be doing this 5 days a week. I'm blessed to be doing it. I'm blessed that anybody pays attention to it. But I'm exhausted. I can't do 17-hour days like this. And I have to figure something out. Something's going to have to give. I don't know what that is yet. But something's going to have to give. I'm exhausted. I fell asleep at my desk again today. I just got lucky that we were so slow and nobody noticed. But I can't keep this up. But they're very first world problems, believe me. You know, if you have cancer, if you're poor and you're getting evicted from your house, you couldn't give a crap about how tired I am. And I think that's a very fair way to feel. But not that, you know, anybody needs to think that what I think is fair, but I'm exhausted. I'm just absolutely exhausted.
I know.
I really can't keep this up. And I don't know how I'm going to keep it up. I need to hit the lottery. Why don't you and Gilbert write a lottery algorithm? Okay, what do you say we get this thing kicked off here? The play button would be good, Jeff. If you hit the play button, I think probably work even better.
Kennedy. Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who brings the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair? We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you'll cast your vote for Kennedy and a change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Kennedy, 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 for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, for now, North American continent, Western Hemisphere, on this planet Earth, the only one we have. Third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is TKE Tonight, the Kennedy Effect tonight, live with you for the 8th of August 2024, the end of our broadcast week. We are live right now on my personal Facebook page, Jeff Kennedy, our Twitch channel. Is it channel, George?
Yes, channel.
Which is a channel. On our Twitch, whatever. Twitch channel, Jeff R. Kennedy. We are on my LinkedIn page at Jeff Kennedy, and we are on our YouTube channel, That Other Side of Information, and of course our audio blasted around the globe via the website Voscast, VOSCAST. Go to Voscast and search for GCPR.live, Ghost Claw Productions Radio, and the Shoutcast app, SHOUTCAST, Shoutcast app. Again, go in the search for GCPR Live, search for Ghost Claw Productions Radio, and you will hear us right there. And please tell your friends and family. Why not? Let them know. Share. I guess that comment didn't survive. It's very strange. There's a couple of comments that when I make them, they seem to have lived here, so I can just save them over and over and over again. But we ask you, of course, to give GCPR, to give the help desk and Sound of Coffee and everything surrounding GCPR to please give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, all those things. It helps us very much. It helps things like Facebook not ban us for no particular reason whatsoever other than they feel like it. And I did say I was going to call them tonight, and I honestly, I don't think I have the energy to fight with them tonight. So let's just get into the program and do the program that we're used to doing. I don't know. Maybe I'll be in a more foul mood next week, and maybe I will want to call them live on the air, because I will do it on the air. I'm not calling them off the air because they're not deserving of my free time. Not that I have any, but I will call them on the air and make them explain to us. Now, then again, they might not talk to us, and I have every legal obligation to tell them that we are live on the air, and they may not tell us or may not talk to us, might hang up on us and all that stuff. But and I would understand that. But yeah, perhaps we'll do that next week. I just honestly, I'm not in the. I just can't right now. I'm so tired and I'm not in the mood. But anyway, so this is TKE tonight, the Kennedy Effect tonight for the 8th of August, 2024, wrapping up our broadcast week. It is looking very, if you're used to tuning into our Sunday program, that is currently appearing on all the social media that you see it right now, as well as GCPR.live, as well as Hot101.net. I don't think we're going to be here with you on Sunday. I just don't think we're going to be here. But we will return next week, Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. on GCPR.live, and we invite you to be here as well. Your friends, your family, your coworkers, maybe even the people that you don't think would enjoy the program, please tell them about it. Ask them to give us a shot. Maybe they'll tune in and they won't like it and they'll never listen again. Or maybe they will like it and they'll become regular listeners like you. So we ask you to invite others, to invite other Facebook groups, to invite other Facebook friends that you have, to invite other people that you may know through TikTok or any one of the millions of social media. Well, it's probably not millions, but you know what I mean. Scores of social media that's out there. Please share what we do here. I don't think we're curing cancer, but I don't think it's meaningless either. And we'd like to have as many people on board as possible, and we hope that you'll be part of this program and that you'll invite others to be part of the program as well. Phone line is open, 267-227-9189. At least I think it is, right? Yes, 267-227-9189. Phone line is open. Take as many of your calls as we can before we leave you at 9 p.m., about 50 minutes from now. So thank you all for being here. Let's get straight to what I think are the top stories of the day. From the Associated Press, Jill Colvin, Michelle Price, and Adriana Gomez Lincoln have co-authored a story about the Trump, I guess you'd say, press conference. I tend to think of these things more as show stunts. You know, one of the great societal civil crimes that has ever been foisted on the United States is NBC teaching Donald Trump how to be a TV star, because he continues to use that knowledge every day, and you can see it. Man knows how to get attention, and he knows how to sell himself. It is not terribly different than a turn of the century 1910s traveling, late 1800s and up to 20 maybe, traveling carnival salesman who has the stagecoach full of little glass bottles that are probably just filled with water, but yet it is the miracle cure for everything, right? For baldness, for whatever was ailing you back in those more than a century ago. The flu, jaundice, going bald, and you need extra energy, make older people feel young again, that kind of thing. He is that kind of salesman. He has nothing to sell you except people keep buying it. And while I didn't watch any of the press conference today because I work for a living, and by the way, don't make any mistake that he has this press conference dead in the middle of the day so that the audience can be naturally reduced. Now, everybody covered it live, as they should. I happen to think part of the reason Trump became president in the first place is because the media gave him well over $2 billion in free airtime during the 2016 campaign cycle. That doubled to almost $4 billion in the 2020 campaign cycle. The man knows how to get free media. The media's responsibility and shame and fault lies in giving it to him. And he had this press conference in the middle of the day so that he could limit the number of people who would actually watch it and leave it to very friendly right-wing media to distill and expand upon and exploit. The President of the United States has press conferences. Sometimes they are in the middle of the day because that's when a foreign leader might be visiting the White House. That's when he might be chairing, the National Security Council or having a cabinet meeting. He also does press conference. Well, presidents used to do press conferences in prime time at night. The fact that these things seem to all happen now during the day, I do believe is a premeditated, planned way to decrease the audience. And so that once the media distills these things down into sound bites, right-wing media will take the glaring and obvious lies and errors and flubs, won't show any of them, whereas you would be watching it in real time. So anyway, this is from the Associated Press. Trump, again, written by Jill Colvin, Michelle Price, and Adriana Gomez Lincoln. Headline: Trump recommits to a September 10th debate and lashes out at Harris at news conference. What a shocker. Geez, hope you're all sitting down for that. Gee, Trump lashed out at Harris. Gosh, hope you're all, if you didn't have that on your bingo card. Dateline Palm Beach. Because, of course, I put in the header of the program tonight. Think of what the press did for Trump today. His campaign is well behind fundraising behind the Harris-Walz campaign. Harris-Walz has raised almost, well, Harris, she just named, obviously, Walz on Tuesday, but they've raised nearly $250 million in just under 3 weeks. Trump has raised significant amounts of money. This is why it's the end of the broadcast week. I've lost my ability to speak. They have money. If you go on any kind of streaming service, if you use YouTube, the digital ads are at an almost saturation point, not just from the political action committees and super PACs that are backing Trump, but from Trump's own PAC and campaign. So they are putting ads out. They are making an effort. But he's had 2 rallies in the last 2 weeks. This is why last night I was mentioning the speculation in the press. Does Trump really want to win this election? Because he's not working like a guy who needs to or wants to. And then, look, the press, I don't think, has a choice but to cover when the nominee of a former functioning political party has a press conference. I don't think they have a choice. They have to cover it. But think about the cleverness of what he did today. He didn't have to rent a space, get logistics on the ground, pay a crew to set up an arena, or even a VFW hall. He got to do all of the same crap and spew all of the same lies at a press conference where he, at his own home, that the press had to come to him to get. It's pretty cheap. But then again, so is Trump. We go to the article. Donald Trump recommitted to debating Vice President Kamala Harris after recently backing out, holding a lengthy news conference earlier today, in which he taunted his new rival, boasted of his crowd on January 6, 2021, and lashed out at questions about the enthusiasm her campaign has been generating. As the Republican presidential nominee addressed reporters at his Palm Beach, Florida estate, ABC announced that Trump and Harris, the Democratic nominee, have agreed to a September 10 debate, setting up a widely anticipated face-off in an already unparalleled election. Trump said he had proposed 3 debates with 3 television networks in September. Trump desperately wants one of these debates to be on Fox, partly to curry favor with Fox, and partly because if he walks out on stage and doesn't piss himself, they'll declare him the winner. It's one of the traps that Hillary Clinton walked into in 2016, is that even left-leaning media gave Trump a complete pass during the debates. Well, he's not a politician, he's not a public speaker, he's never debated like this before. Pretty much if he comes out on stage and doesn't throw up, he's probably going to win this debate. And not only did he not do that, he attacked her pretty savagely. He lied a lot, as he always does. If he's taken in a breath to form a word, it's probably going to be a lie. But the anticipation and the kind of expectation for Trump in 2016 during these debates was, well, as long as he doesn't throw up on himself, he's probably pretty good. He gets a win. And I'm not sure that that's changed to a great extent. But he wants one of these debates on Fox. He does. He wanted to debate Biden because he thought he could make Biden, well, we saw what happened in that debate. It's exactly what Trump was hoping for. and his campaign, such as it is. Because at the end of the day, we all know, by the way, every decision that's being made by that campaign is eventually being made by Trump, not really his staff. He's making all the decisions. Because remember, he has a superior brain. He told you so himself. The first debate went exactly the way they wanted and hoped, and could probably well beyond what they ever could have hoped for. And that didn't need to be on Fox. Now he needs one on Fox. He needs Fox hosts moderating it. He needs to stack the deck. Gee whiz, Trump trying to rig the circumstances of anything? I can hardly wrap my head around it. In taking questions from reporters for more than an hour, Trump tried to draw a contrast with Harris, who has not held a news conference since President Joe Biden's withdrawal from the race. And, to be fair, bad on her. Presidential news conferences used to be regular events. And they started to fade away with the George W. Bush administration because he simply couldn't answer questions. The people and staff around him were afraid to put him live in front of the media. So the regular news conference kind of faded away through the Clinton years and really got dead and buried during the George W. Bush years. Remember, President Roosevelt used to have fireside chats. He spoke regularly to the American people. It was standard practice for the president to speak from the Oval Office sometimes 4 times a year, once a quarter. We didn't wait for natural disasters or foreign policies or wars or an exploding space shuttle to speak to the country. Several times during his 8 years, President Obama went into the daily briefing room and took the podium himself and just started taking questions. I think it's a failure actually of both parties, even though Republicans have turned the speaking to the press, answering questions, having town halls, answering questions from their constituents into some sort of satanic act. We don't have to speak to you. We don't have to take questions. We want you to vote for us, and we want you to kind of think we have all the answers, but we're not going to share any of that wisdom with you. So, to be honest, Democratic administrations in the 21st century haven't done too much for reestablishing regular press communications either. Walking the rope line on the way to Marine One to go to Edwards is not the same. I think this country would be so well benefited if you've never watched Prime Minister's Questions Time from the UK. C-SPAN or C-SPAN 2 normally carries it live. I think it's 7 a.m. our time on Wednesdays, if I'm not mistaken. Watch it. Even if you don't care about what's going on in the UK, watch it. Can you imagine some of the presidents that we've had in recent memory going into the well of Congress and taking questions from senators and representatives? Well, actually, really only representatives, because Prime Minister's question time takes place in the House of Commons. The House of Lords has nothing to do with it. So could you imagine a president? Could you imagine Reagan? Or George W. Bush? Or Trump going into the well of Congress and taking questions? Could you imagine such a thing? But then again, how better served would the American people be if they did, what would the relationship between the executive and the legislative be? Would it be worse? I don't think so. Could it actually get better? I do think so. If a president had to go into the well of Congress and take live, on-the-spot questions from members of the House. It's one of the great British traditions that I think the United States would benefit from. The Canadians do the same thing. You can watch that. They have Prime Minister's questions time. The Australians do it. Anyway, let me return to the article. Another key moment in the election is set. Trump's decision to go on ABC sets up a high-stakes moment in an election where Biden's catastrophic performance in the last debate set in motion his withdrawal. Correct. Just 5 days earlier, he had declared he would not debate on ABC and said his agreement with the network had been terminated, quote unquote. He wrote on his social media site that if Harris would not appear on Fox News on September 4 instead, I won't see her at all. What did I just say about him trying to steer a debate to Fox News? And again, it's about money. I have heard reports that the first debate, an unprecedented presidential debate in June, where neither candidate was the actual official nominee of their party, drew a total audience, not that watched it from start to finish, but at least checked in on it. The audience was 60 million plus people. And CNN took commercial breaks because they made money on it. Trump needs Fox. Fox needs Trump. If he can steer a debate to him, he steers tens of millions of dollars into their pocket and gives them all the more reason to kiss his ass in coverage. Bravo to the Harris-Walz campaign for not falling for it. This is what the Supreme Corporation has wrought on this nation. That campaigns have now become money-making opportunities instead of debates about the future of the nation and all of us who reside here. They've become commercial opportunities. The Supreme Court did that, and the people who bought and own the Supreme Court. I return to the article, again from the Associated Press, co-authored by Jill Colvin, Michelle Price, and Adriana Lincoln. On Thursday, Trump announced a change of heart and tried to pressure Harris to agree to 2 more September debates on Fox and NBC, because he's got to give a little something, right? Asked what he will do if Harris only agrees to the ABC debate, he said, I don't know how that's going to work out. We'd like to do 3 debates. We think we should do 3 debates. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He wants one on Fox for money. He doesn't want to do 3 debates because he thinks he's going to beat her in the debate. This is where I seem to differ from a lot of my left-leaning friends. I don't think Trump is a stupid man. Let me back that up. There's a difference between dumb and stupid. Dumb is when you see a red-hot burner on the stove and you put your hand on it. Stupid is when you do it again. I don't think Trump's a stupid man. I think he's willfully ignorant on an awful lot of topics. Because his ability to scam people has allowed him to be intellectually lazy. But by saying I want to do 3 debates. I want to do 30 debates. I want to do 3 debates a day until election day. His followers, his tribe, get to bloviate about how Harris won't debate him. Trump does not want to debate Harris 3 times, I guarantee you. In fact, there has been solid and corroborated reporting through multiple media outlets that the folks inside the Trump campaign don't want him to debate her at all because they fear how much she's going to rip him to pieces. She challenged him to this debate. He agreed to do the debate. Backing out made him look weak, and there's nothing more that Donald Trump hates than looking weak. Maybe that's why he's orange. Maybe it's testosterone. I returned to the article. A few hours after the news conference, Harris told reporters she was, quote, glad he has finally committed, unquote, to debate her on ABC on September 10th, the date that had originally been set for a Biden face-off against Trump and which her campaign has long stuck to. Quote, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope he shows up, she said. Thursday's event was Trump's first public appearance since Harris selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. Trump called Walz a, quote, radical left man. Between her and him, there's never been anything like this, Trump said. There's certainly never been anybody so liberal like these two. Oh, okay. Teddy Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, John Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson. But then again, you'd have to know history. And Trump is willfully ignorant. I would remind you also as well, on a very side note, the word liberal itself, the root word of liberal is libre, which is a Latin word. It also becomes the root word for other words like the Spanish word libre, which is the word for book, liberty, library. This is not a dirty word. The fact that we on the left have allowed so-called conservatives, starting with Limbaugh, to make liberal a dirty word is our fault. In Latin and Greek, libre points to being a person of freedom, of intelligence, of knowledge, scholarly. It's not a dirty word. It's something we should expect, not just from one another, but certainly from our elected officials and leaders. He repeatedly suggested Harris was not intelligent enough to debate him. Harris, for her part, has tried to goad Trump into debating and told an audience in Atlanta recently that if he had anything to say about her, he should, quote, say it to my face. And by the way, the aggressiveness of the Democratic ticket in answering these fake, bloviated, faux machismo sort of moments is a brilliant campaign strategy. Trump thinks he's tougher than you. He thinks he's more of a man than you. And every time she brushes him off her shoulder, like a bully in the schoolyard who tries to steal your milk money every day, he just gets more and more angry. And at the same time, retreats into his own corner. Trump grew visibly perturbed when pressed on Harris's crowds and newfound Democratic enthusiasm, dismissing a question about his lighter campaign schedule as, quote-unquote, stupid. Because after all, when somebody confronts you with a fact or says something to you that you simply have no response to, that's stupid. You're stupid. What is this guy, 3? What is he, 5, 10 years old in the schoolyard? Pushing little girls into the mud? Pulling on their pigtails? Trying to steal your milk money? Copying off your test? This is the 3-time presidential nominee from the former opposite functioning political party in this country. This is the best they can do. One of the things that made me very perturbed, at a minimum, when Democrats throughout the country were calling for President Biden to step down or step out of the race. They didn't actually call for him to step down from the presidency, but out of the race. So I need to correct my words there. Is that we were asking ourselves the question, is this the best we can do? Why the hell haven't any Republicans asked themselves that question? Is this the best you can do? A convicted felon? An adjudicated rapist? A man who has stolen charity monies from veterans, September 11th survivors, students, a family who is no longer allowed by law to run a charity in the state of New York? And if it wasn't for the interference of the Supreme Court, the one he built and put together, although he was basically paid and directed on whom to pick, this close to not ever being able to do business again in the state of New York. This is the guy that we're going to listen to about intelligence? One thing he did get right. One thing he did get right. When he said, and I read it earlier, we've never seen anything like this before. That's correct. We've never seen a woman of color as the Democratic nominee or a nominee of either of the two major parties in this country in our history. So no, we haven't seen anything like this before. $250 million in less than 3 weeks? No, we haven't seen anything like this before. 200,000 volunteers in less than 3 weeks? No. No, we haven't seen anything like this before. And God bless all the people who donated money and who volunteered, who were not originally volunteers especially, who have come to the realization that democracy is that important to try to save. Let me return to the article. Trump says he has not, quote unquote, recalibrated his campaign despite facing a new opponent, a dynamic some Republican strategists have quietly complained about. He's not running against Joe Biden anymore. It means you have to change your strategy. You have to change your messaging. It changes where you target monies. To say that they haven't adjusted at all, again, is intellectual laziness, physical laziness. No, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And it's why some people question, does he really want to win? Now, as I told you last night, I happen to believe he does want to win because he really, really doesn't want to go to prison. He really doesn't want to lose his businesses. I think he does want to win. When asked what assets Harris possessed, Trump said, quote, "She's a woman. She represents certain groups of people." Yeah, 56% of the population of the country. The majority. Trump has repeatedly and falsely accused Harris, the daughter of Jamaican and Indian immigrants, of previously downplaying that she is black. Trump acknowledges weakness with black women. Trump recognized some changing patterns with his new opponent, acknowledging he may not be as popular with black women. One of Democrats' key voting blocks. He expressed a lot of confidence from his support of black men. That's where he thinks this machismo thing is going to carry him through. If I just degrade women enough, if I just pump my chest out and call everybody that doesn't like me stupid, the boys will like me. Yeah, sadly, too many. Too damn many. And which of those boys like you? Poorly educated Southern whites, billionaires, misogynists. Hey, look, I think the relatively small percentage of black men who have been polled to have that have admitted that they support Trump, something wrong there too. I can't imagine voting for a guy who hates you. I can't imagine as a black man of any age, by the way, going into that voting booth and vote and consciously giving my vote to a man who hates me because I'm black. Not me, obviously, and not George, obviously. But in an alternate universe where where most of these Republicans live anyway, on Earth 2, I can't exactly put myself in the shoes of a black man in this country. I certainly can't. I'm not one, didn't grow up that way. I don't have the history and experiences. But for that little slice of time, if I were to think of myself try to put myself in the shoes of a black male in this country, of any age, the thought that I would walk into that voting booth and give my constitutional right, my vote, to a man who hates me just because my skin color is different. I don't know how you make a decision like that. They will. There will be a percentage of black males that vote for Trump. And, to be honest, that's their right. I don't have to agree with it, but it is their right. It's their choice. I just can't, for the life of me, fathom the choice. Again to the article. Quote, "It could be I'll be effective somewhat with black females, but we're really doing well," he said. "And I think ultimately they'll like me better because I'm going to give them security, safety, and jobs. I'm going to give them a good economy." Wages are up. The economy is at near full employment. The wealth gap between whites and blacks is the smallest it's been since the 60s. No, it's not the 60s. I take that back. I'm sorry. No, it might be. I'm trying to remember. It's the mid-90s. Sorry, it's the mid-90s. The wealth gap between white and black is the smallest it's been. There is still a gap, and there shouldn't be one. There should be no wealth gap between any constituency, between any demographic, but they exist. That wealth gap between whites and blacks is the smallest it's been since the mid-90s. Wealth gap between men and women is the smallest it's been, by the way. Trump campaign officials told reporters ahead of the news conference they believe Harris is currently enjoying a honeymoon period. That's not a crazy thought to have. There's always a honeymoon period, except I noticed that in the polls after the Republican convention in Nuremberg, normally the nominee gets a bump out of that. I remember Michael Dukakis coming out of the 1988 Democratic convention 18 points ahead of George H.W. Bush. Trump got no bump from that convention whatsoever. None. The polls did not change. Now, again, to be fair, they did not get worse, but they sure as hell didn't get better. It will be interesting to see what, if any, bump the vice president gets out of the Democratic convention, which takes place, I think, starting... Gosh, does it start the week? Does it start next week? After the Olympics are over. I want to say it starts next week. Oh, I'm not sure. DNC convention. Dates? Anybody? Oh, for goodness sake. Sorry, the 19th, the week after. So not this coming week, although the Olympics wrap up on Sunday. Not this coming Monday, but the following Monday is when the DNC takes place in Chicago. So it will be interesting to see if she gets any boost from that, any bump. I suspect that she will, which is not to say do I know that it's going to be a huge bump. But I suspect she'll get a bump out of it. It was very interesting to notice that Trump did not. Let me see. Let me see. Trump suggested abortion will not be a major issue in the campaign and outcome in November. No, you hope it won't. I would say that he would pray that it's not going to be an issue, but he doesn't do that. Praying would almost be an admission by him that there is a supreme being above him, and he doesn't think there is. Sadly, in my mind, unlike previous campaigns, there's going to be a severe lack of issues in this campaign. But if I were to name 3, it will probably be democracy, the very existence of the United States as we know it, women's rights, which I don't think is restricted to abortion, but a woman's right to autonomy over her own body. And that third one, Republicans will try to make it immigration, even though border crossings are down, encounters with the border patrol are down, deportations are up. They'll try to make that the issue. The statistics, of course, don't support any of it. And, of course, they killed their own border bill because Trump told them to. It really does kind of remind you of that saying that your parents used to tell you when you were a kid. Why did you jump off the roof? Well, Johnny did. Well, if Johnny jumped off a cliff, would you jump off a cliff? I wonder how many the Republicans are running out of cliffs to jump off. It's kind of like Thelma and Louise, except Trump always makes the turn right at the edge. The rest of them go off the cliff. Anyway, I think that about covers that. I want to get to this. The AP did a fact check of the press conference, and I from what I have been able to read about it, and I haven't seen a lick of it. I'm not going to tell you that I did. It seems to be, again, one of those more of one of those streams of consciousness, or subconsciousness, or unconsciousness, than it was actually a press conference. I will give it to Trump one political skill that he has mastered. And most all politicians have this skill, or at least they try to employ it. He's really quite mastered it, if I'm being honest. And I am. Is that he answers the question he wants to answer, not the one that's necessarily being asked to him. But he answers the question he wants to answer. So the AP did a fact check article. This one is written by the staff, so I can't really credit any specific writer. But again, if you go to the AP app, and they're not paying me, I'm not, trying to sell you an app. It's a free app. You can create a login, but you don't have to use it. Crowd sizes claim the biggest crowd I've ever spoken. I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to bigger crowds than me. If you look at Martin Luther King when he did his speech, his great speech. Of course, Trump can't tell you what speech that is, by the way, because he doesn't know. Same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not had more. They said I had 1 million people, but I had 25,000. He doesn't, not even using the numbers right. Oh, he had 1 million people, but I had 20, whatever. Facts. Trump was comparing the crowd at his speech in front of the White House on January 6th. I'm sorry, what is that date? God, that date sounds familiar. What was that? Oh, that was the attempt to end the United States government. A little event there called the insurrection. Oh, right. That was the day they tried to kill Vice President Pence and Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer. And because the crowd was so damned intelligent, kill pretty much any elected official they could get their hands on. He compared that crowd size to Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Well, Trump has never been accused of having a small ego. He claimed nobody was killed on January 6th. What? Do we even need to fact check that? Are you shitting me? Including one of his own supporters, who was shot while trying to kill a police officer. He claimed the presidency was taken away from Joe Biden. In fact, there is nothing in the Constitution that prevents the Democratic Party from making Vice President Kamala Harris its nominee. That process is determined by the Democratic National Committee. I find this really funny. I do not wish this at all. I don't advocate for it. I'm not calling for it. I don't want to see it. If Trump had been assassinated that day in Pennsylvania, are you trying to tell me that the Republicans would not have picked another nominee? Of course they would have. Or even if he just had a health issue and could not serve. Well, he doesn't serve anything other than bullshit. He doesn't serve anyone. But if something had incapacitated Trump where he could not be the nominee, you honestly think the Republicans would not have picked another nominee? Anyway, you can find all these articles on the Associated Press app. The Associated Press app. It is free. Again, you can sign into it. You can create a login. You do not have to. It is a free app. I recommend it highly. I think it's a really terrific app. Mike says in the chat, is there anything funny or positive to end on tonight? The U.S. men's basketball team rallied from behind to beat Serbia. They will play France for the gold medal. And I believe that game is on Saturday or Sunday. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what. Oh, Saturday it is. It's on Saturday. I don't know what time here. My guess would be in the middle of the day because of the 5-hour time difference with France. So I'm gonna say maybe 1 o'clock. They've played at different times during these Olympics with the time difference. They played, I think, as late as 3 o'clock in the afternoon and as early as 11 o'clock in the morning. Eastern daylight time. So I don't know what time the final is. But there's a positive. We talked a lot about the economy this week. The dramatic, it was portrayed as dramatic drop off in stocks on Tuesday. Stan Cho writes from New York today, U.S. stocks rallied Thursday in Wall Street's latest sharp swerve after a better than expected report on unemployment eased worries about the slowing economy. The S&P jumped 2.3% for its best day since 2022 and shaved off all but 0.5% of its loss from earlier in the week. The Dow Jones rose 683 points or 1.8%, and the Nasdaq 2.9%. We told you this was that this was a very, very brief thing. The real part of the story is that the financial regulations that were put in place as a part of the New Deal to prevent depressions from happening again have all but been eroded. We would not see these wild swings in the market if those regulations were still in place. And oh, by the way, as a subcontext to that, we used to have something called a stock transaction tax in this country. That I think it was a 0.1% of the value of the transfer of the stock was paid to the federal government in taxes. One of the ways that Wall Street and the Fed and the financial institutions have created to prevent another depression is that when the market starts to slide precipitously and in a very rapid fashion, computers will kick in and start making stock trades to artificially inflate stock prices and stop the slide. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, among others, have called for an electronic stock transaction tax of 0.01%, 1/100%, and only on electronic stock transactions. The amount of money that would be raised from such a tax would pay for Medicare for all. It would eliminate student debt. It would eliminate medical debt. By the way, I guess this is a good story too. Noah Lyles won the bronze medal in the men's 200 meters today. He did it having COVID. How he was allowed to run having COVID is a really great question, and I actually think deserves a bit of investigation if you wouldn't mind. But he actually has COVID and managed to win a bronze in the 200 meters. The third fastest man on the planet at that distance. Not a small achievement. There's also an article. I'll end with this. Mike wanted to end with something fun. Dateline San Diego. Jamie Ding and Eugene Garcia are the authors. California's governor flew for the young bear's debut. Throngs of media gathered inside the zoo, while the city of San Diego warned of traffic jams ahead of the much-anticipated event on Thursday. The San Diego Zoo rolled out the red carpet for the first public showing of its celebrity residents, who were already dressed in black and white attire. The two giant pandas, the first to enter the U.S. in 2 decades, seemed unfazed by all of the attention, sunbathing and chowing down on bamboo in their new home. 2 new giant pandas at the San Diego Zoo. And I have to say, as someone who, no pun intended, has been blessed enough to rediscover my faith, while I very much believe in science, it is hard to not have a passing thought, at a minimum, that there is some grand designer when you look at a panda bear. If a panda bear doesn't look like a living stuffed animal, I don't know what does. The perfect black and white segmentation, they just look like stuffed animals. Of course, they're obviously breathing alive. I'm not stupid, but I'm just saying, they look like dolls. The coloring is just so perfect. Like, I don't know enough about them. Most wildlife on Earth is colored to match its environment, whether it's beating sun or cold or terribly wet or terribly dry. Many have their own camouflage to hide from predators. How does a big black and white teddy bear? I don't understand it, but makes you think there's a grand design. And boy, if you can't smile looking at a panda, I don't know what can make you smile. The problem's probably more with you than it is the pandas. That's about all we have for tonight. That is the end of TKE Tonight for the 8th of August. That's the end of our broadcast week as well. We will return to you on Monday evening. If I am here Sunday, it'll be news to me. I'm pretty darn certain we won't be, and that's okay. Take a Sunday night, watch the closing ceremonies of the Olympics. We will return to you on Monday, what the hell is Monday? The 12th. Thank you. I got it. Eventually, it came to me. I get a mental picture of my calendar at work, which is frightening that I have to go back to work to think about what day it's going to be on Monday. We'll be back with you on Monday, the 12th from 8 p.m. George will be here with me. For everybody at GCPR, Thomas McCormick, the villain, Sergeant Mac, for Gambit, Gilbert, Gretchen, Ben, Brett, Pastor Best, T. Nathan, for everybody at GCPR, for everybody that surrounds the Kennedy Effect, Lynn and George Dare, April Riddick, Kristen and Daisy the dog downstairs, I'm Jeff Kennedy. 11 p.m. tonight, Conversations with T. Nathan. He tried to say, I'm really ending just on time now. I can't even talk. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11 p.m. Eastern Time here on GCPR.live. Sound of Coffee returns tomorrow morning as well. We will see you again on Monday. Done about all the damage we can do for one night. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And please take care of yourselves and each other. T. Nathan from 11. We'll see you then. Take care.